Hey guys, this is Coach Carly, and you're watching Bull Time. We are back with an episode of Bull Time. This is August 2024. Again, it sound like a broken record on these. It has been my own fault for not getting these out quicker, but I did post 4 in a row if I remember correctly. So now that I'll have 2 in a row because we're recording August and September, you will have 2 videos in a row posted within the same week. So that's a positive. Another positive is we had 2 meets in August. We had our rookie mulch making meet, and then we had another meet out in Rochester. We had about 9 athletes compete in those meets, so very excited to kind of share how they did. First up, we had our mulch making meet where we had a bunch of rookies and second-time lifters. I would say it's about 50-50 split with ours for 8 peeps that competed, 9 peeps that competed. I think we had about a 50-50 split. First up, we had Jennifer Hunt. Jen is one of my remote athletes. Kind of a really cool story. We started with a referral from Ann Titus, and we were kind of training to pass her PT test remotely. So we were essentially teaching lifting for the first time ever remotely via Zoom in half-hour sessions, which has been really cool. And then she took a liking to barbell movements, and we kind of enjoyed it, and she's been looking forward to trying to do a meet. This was actually the 3rd one that we tried to plan, but we finally executed that. So she went 8 for 9. So no total PR because she's never done a meet before, but she went 8 for 9, and I think she already wanted to do our next one in December, another rookie. So you can do our rookie meets, our first and second time lifters only, or your first time in USAPL. Next up, we had Betsy Moon. Betsy is just awesome. She is a bundle of joy every time she comes into the gym. She's always excited about lifting, and she's excited also about how everyone else does, which is really fucking cool. She's not necessarily, I would say, doesn't necessarily enjoy competing, but she loves lifting. So it's definitely something that I'm excited to have her at least do one more. And she did great. She had went 9 for 9, had a 17.5 kilo total PR, and absolutely crushed it. Next up, we had Jaylyn. Jaylyn, first-time lifter. She was a resident, anesthesia resident at UB in referral from Dr. Watt. And she just wanted to power lift, and she just kind of came in and was like, hey, I want to compete one day, and absolutely did a great job. She went 7 for 9, not because of strength. She missed lifts. Just because she didn't necessarily listen to the commands the right way. She beat a rack command both on the squat and the bench. And that happens. That's just a part of this. Next up, we had Nihi. Nihi, first-time lifter as well. She went 8 for 9. We've been training about 8 months. Wanted to slowly get introduced to powerlifting, the strength training movements. And through that, she just wanted to maybe eventually compete. And then we pulled the trigger on doing this. Things were looking really good. I always recommend people when I feel like their form is at a certain level. And for Nihi, I definitely felt like their form came to a certain level. And I said, hey, we should do something and we should compete. And she did. And she absolutely crushed it. So super proud of her for how well she did. And then next up, we had Tawny. Tawny's second meet. We had a long journey to get to this meet. Tawny went 8 for 9, did about 17.5 kilos less than her best, which is about 10%-ish of her best ever. But the problem is, not problem, I guess the great thing about it is, she lost about 10 kilos of body weight throughout that entire process. It was about a year and a half between when she did her last one and this one. So it was great. Sure, you did 17.5 kilos less, 10% less, but you also lost more than 10% of your body weight. So that's a really, really cool thing to maintain as much strength as she did. Next up, we had Margaret Braymiller. She did her second meet ever, and she crushed it. She went 9 for 9, 20 kilo total PR. Kind of cool that, for what seems like her last meet for the inevitable future, it was a great one. We came back, we conquered some of the, I think, mental barriers we had going into the deadlift, and being afraid of lifts. And, we didn't have that going into this. It was just perfect, a perfectly executed day, 9 for 9. Can't complain there at all. Next up, we had Mr. Morgan Simo, Lindsay's brother. He went 9 for 9 in his first ever meet, and he had a great training cycle. Sometimes I necessarily can't read the Google Sheet the right way, but that's why we communicate, and he still had a great meet. He executed everything great. We had a lot of technique changes that we had to make but during his lifting with me, just because he came from a very football-esque background, and there was not a lot of good strength training movements there, so we had to readjust, and did absolutely awesome. Next up, we had Mr. Josh Kessler. Josh went in his first ever meet. He went 7 for 9, and just again, missing some things on some technicalities, missing some rack command, soft knees, those kind of things happen. But it doesn't mean that, again, you were strong enough to do those things. Just sometimes, these are the technical things that you forget or miss as you get into, competing, and you realize those are little things that I have to pay attention to in training. He had a great prep. Again, someone who just moved here from Texas and had a great prep, and wanted to get introduced to powerlifting just like Nihi did, and kind of learn the movements. He was doing it when he was in Texas and wanted to compete, but then he moved here. So I'm glad that we got to finally do his first ever meet, and I think he enjoyed it a lot. And then last but not least for this meet, we had Mr. Dan O'Reilly. Went 9 for 9, a 75 kilo total PR. And he second ever meet, and it was awesome. I mean, how can you complain? He did 75 kilos more. That's 165 pounds. He's a guy that just comes in super quiet, does his work, asks what he needs to do, and just does it. And it's awesome. So I'm very happy about how well he did. And he seems to enjoy it. So that's also a benefit as well. Our next meet, we had, I believe, Rochester Rumble 3 or 4. I can't remember, but they've been running this Rochester, East Ave has been running this Rochester Rumble meet for a good couple of years now, and they've been doing a great job. I think, we can all learn from each other running these meets, and Chris has definitely adopted some things that we do here, and I definitely have adopted some things that they do, which has been great. You just bounce ideas off of each other, and it's a good environment for the lifters of New York to kind of feel like, when they do a Jan meet, they do a East Ave meet, they do a Mustache meet, that they're getting a very similar product each and every single time. But we had Lindsay Faye compete. Wasn't our best day, and you know what? Shit happens. It wasn't necessarily what we wanted, but at the end of the day, I think we have to learn that sometimes life, and this isn't Lindsay has to learn, being in general, people have to learn that life happens, life gets in the way, life is a part of what we're doing, and sometimes it sucks a lot. And sometimes, it's not as sunshine and rainbows when you go into a meet and you have to handle stress. Lifting is stress. And then when you're already, burning the candle at both ends, it's not easy. So I'm happy that we battled as best as we could and still did, 95+%, 97% of our best ever total. So hard to complain, especially when your performance isn't, I know what we both know she's up to quality of. But that concludes August, and I'm excited to talk about September next. I'll see you soon.